I don't want to bore you with details. Some people might call me a mad scientist, but that's only some people. I used to work at a local college as a professor of synthetic biology. In 1996, after resubmitting a paper on rapid genome resequencing, not only did they not publish the paper, they removed me from my position and forced me to sign an NDA regarding my little experiment in their macrocosm laboratory. They called it a horror show. I called it success. They burned it, the poor thing. It had only just started to grow eyes. What they didn't know was you can't kill my baby with fire. Unless the synthetic cells are brought down to near absolute zero, they continue to grow. You can't imagine how happy I was to see that first wiggle of cell motion. When I brought it home, the syn cells were really slow though. The first culture had taken years to evolve and grow eyes. Can you imagine growing a new, unique life form, and then being accused of torturing it? It was nurturing. Stagnation doesn't encourage evolution. My baby needed external motivation to grow and evolve. I'm happy they casted me out. It's left me to pursue real, hard science without needless rules and boundaries. I took those wiggling survivors, and by winter of 2001, I had cultured a truly remarkable being. You might not think much of a 3-foot blob that looks like a brain with an appendage hanging out, but I love that little thing with my whole heart. I named it Ugly Baby, or Little Uggy. In 2007, Uggy was getting harder to feed. It was about 7 feet in diameter and had developed eyes on all of its quadrants, about 8 in all. It grew another weird appendage, this one a kind of breathing tube, into which it could push one of its eyeballs and use it as an eye stalk. Despite its great size, like an octopus, it could squeeze itself into impossibly small places. Wherever it traveled, be it the floor, the wall, or the ceiling, it left a snail-like goo that would eventually turn into a kind of fungus. In the fall of 2014, the creature started viewing me as a hostile. The whole room had to be flushed with liquid nitrogen before I could even think about stepping in. Uggy had grown a mouth and a long, ejectable jaw. It used that mouth to make sounds that I presume were curses directed at me. Syn cells move slowly in small numbers, but this massive culture was evolving, not only physically, but chemically now as well. Uggy is also getting hard to feed. 2 whole deer a day is becoming harder to acquire. Years go by, Uggy grows tentacles. I watch it test them out in disgusting ways on the food I bring it. They are powerful tentacles, some of them barbed. Uggy also evolved a kind of heat sac to make it more resistant to the cold of the liquid nitrogen. It was taking longer to put Uggy to sleep, so then, in 2018, I go out for a night on the town. I meet an old colleague. Long story short, we get in a fist fight that ends in me brutally beating him. I seriously messed him up. I got 4 years for it, arrested on the spot. I was forced to sell my house to pay for all of his surgeries. Then they raided my house because I was already under investigation for all of the chemicals and materials I'd been buying on the deep web. They didn't find Uggy though. Starving, Uggy went into a deep torpor while I served out my now 6-year sentence for all the black market liquid nitrogen. Apparently, my suppliers were in the habit of stealing it and selling it on the deep web. I'm an idiot who trusted black market dealers to encrypt my credit card information. Screw me, right? In 2021, I received an early release. I can't think of any other way to see Uggy than to just level with the homeowners. Hey, I used to own this house. I just want to pick up my monster. They called the cops on me. Thought I was a Fruit Loop. I got ran off, so plan B was to break into the place. So that's what I did. I broke in using the faulty basement window they never fixed. I opened up the hidden floor compartment and was relieved to see my baby wasn't a rotten pile of mush. A bit dried out, a bit shrunken, but still somehow slowly breathing. I approached cautiously with a fire extinguisher. It was in a kind of coma, I thought. Suddenly, I heard the basement door open, and the sound of feet shuffling rapidly down the stairs. "I know someone's down here," a man shouted. I saw a flashlight shining overhead, and could hear the man rapidly approaching. I ran to shut the trap door, but I was too late. I stood there staring at him, unsure what to do. "Hey, you're that guy. I'm calling the cops," he shouted loudly. Lily, come down here right now." Then, just like that, his head exploded as Uggy's tentacle shot through him like a bullet and dragged his corpse into its horrific rotating jaws. Uggy ate him and defecated him out so fast that it was like watching a man being thrown into a wood chipper. I raised my fire extinguisher and released it on Uggy. It wouldn't put my ugly baby to sleep, but it would blind and disorient it long enough for me to escape. I clambered through the upper basement and made it only a few feet when I was hit with a pan. It didn't knock me out, but holy hell it hurt. I couldn't see anything because my eyes were soaked in blood. A woman, who I presumed to be Lily, remarked on the secret room. "What is this, some kind of vault? Ben, are you in there? Don't go in there." I tried to warn her. Even as I was wiping the blood from my eyes, I opened them to see her being dragged into the hole. The sound of her being consumed by Uggy made my legs run involuntarily up the stairs. There were children, 2 of them, in the goddamn hallway. I could hear my baby moving below. It made a sickly wet sound that was somehow too loud and horrifying. I may be a mad scientist, but I'm not the kind to leave children to die. I grabbed them up, screaming and crying into the night. I locked them in their parents' car and told them to hide and not make a noise. The official story is an animal attack. The kids couldn't ID me. They even tried to lure me out with a news piece wishing to thank the anonymous hero. Yeah, right, I'll stay anonymous, thank you. Just, if there are reports of missing dogs, cats, or people, like they vanished without a trace, that might just be my ugly baby. Oh, and check your toilet for an eye stalk before you sit down. It's quite the swimmer.